So Victor Wembanyama is out for the season with the blood clot issue. So we hope he heals up soon. So we will talk about that today. In addition to Anthony Edwards apparently saying he does not want to be the face of the NBA. So let's get into that. So first let's talk about the Victor Wembanyama thing, which is very scary, but there is potentially a silver lining on the, issue. So basically, if you don't know, Victor Wembanyama is out for the season due to right vein thrombosis. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but basically it's a form of, blood clots. And if you don't know or if you don't remember, that is the issue that ended Chris Bosh's career, because once he got blood clots in his legs, he wasn't able to play in the NBA again. I feel like I remember him coming back for like a few games at some point after his, diagnosis, and then I think he was shut down again later on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like basically that's what ended Chris Bosh's career. Now I was reading an article, so I'm going to try to remember everything it said, correctly. So if I do misinterpret any of the information or I missay any of the information, my apologies. And basically I want to read up more about it and stuff like that. And one of the things was that Chris Bosh was apparently interviewed by whoever this article was written by. And Chris Bosh had said that the extensive traveling led to, some of the blood clot or the blood clots in his legs, because apparently, according to like a doctor, the blood pools into a certain area when you have extensive, periods of sitting, like on these long flights, or when you're recovering from surgery. Basically, when you're not moving and stuff like that, the blood pools to one area and it obviously is stuck there, right? And so that was basically kind of what they were saying. And the fact that when you're on these long flights, when you're an NBA player, you are not moving, you're sitting down, you know what I mean? And so apparently Chris Bosh had said that that contributed to his blood clots. And the statistic is that the Spurs actually have traveled the most out of every NBA team this season, close to 38,000 miles before the All-Star break, which is the most out of all the teams. And so then people were asking and questioning like, oh, did the extensive travel cause or, lead to maybe him having this issue? And so what the difference is, though, between his issue and Chris Bosh's is Victor Wembanyama's blood clots are in his right shoulder, I believe, and that is also apparently his shooting arm. And so this doctor who they asked the question to or whatever said that it's likely not caused by the extensive travel because it is in his arm, and they were saying kind of it's more likely to get blood clots in your legs from extensive travel because your legs are just like sitting and, like pooling the blood. Whereas the shoulder or the arm, whatever, it's more likely to be caused by repetition, shooting the ball over and over and over again and basically disturbing the vein. I think he said, I don't know if he said the vein, but basically disturbing whatever causes this issue in the arm, because it's his shooting arm. So he's constantly using that arm. So that is what they were saying. And so unlike Chris Bosh's, they're saying this was caused more by repetition. So I don't know exactly what that means because I'm not a doctor, but I would assume that it kind of means that if this is caused by just overuse in a way, that it can be solved. You know what I mean? Like a way, they'll have to figure out a way to minimize overusing the shoulder, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, because again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't exactly know how to solve these kind of things, because obviously these are serious issues, which is why when people found out, people immediately thought of Chris Bosh because we know what happened. But again, because the circumstance is different and apparently it's more due to overuse and not just like sitting for long periods of time and stuff like that, whereas like you can't really control that, right, when you're on these flights. So that is, I guess, the silver lining that, they're saying right now it's not going to affect his long-term health, his long-term career and stuff like that. So that is the potential and hopefully silver lining, that he will heal up and be ready for next season, because apparently after All-Star weekend, which is kind of crazy because he was playing really hard. Like, he was playing the hardest out of anybody in the All-Star games. Like, he was going for block. He got a block on Cade. He came from behind. Like, it was a really nice defensive play. And so, like, he was playing really well. And apparently after the All-Star weekend, I guess when he got back to San Antonio, he said, I guess he told the medical staff or whatever, like, that his arm didn't feel right. And then so they checked it out and then they found the issue. And so that's where we're at right now. So hopefully Victor Wembanyama heals up soon, because that is, first of all, again, we hope he heals up soon because we don't want anybody to be injured. Victor Wembanyama is such a special talent. We would like to see him in the NBA and have a long career and be healthy and happy and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, from a team standpoint, while they were not, top of the Western Conference, they just got De'Aaron Fox. Like, they were probably going to make a push to make the playoffs at least. Like, I don't know if they were guaranteed to, get a spot, but like, you combine Victor with De'Aaron Fox plus the team they already had. I mean, a lot of people probably thought they could have made the playoffs. So like, that's obviously a bit disappointing for them. And then obviously from an organizational standpoint, again, disappointing, and also, scary because they want him to be healthy. And then from a league standpoint, again, always the same thing. Scary, you want him to be healthy, you don't want to see anybody hurt. But especially given the fact that the NBA is looking at Wemby to be their next face of the league, which we're going to segue into the next topic, talking about Anthony Edwards saying he doesn't want to be the face of the league. But basically, like, because Victor Wembanyama is looked at to be the next face of the NBA, if he, for some reason, could not continue at, or shorten his career and stuff like that, obviously the NBA would be a little sad about that. Like, his health comes first. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, from the NBA just viewing him, from a global perspective and all that stuff, all the fans he brings in, like how, box office he is and all that kind of stuff, that would obviously be disappointing for the NBA just because he is going to be projected to be that guy. So those are all the things. But talking about the face of the NBA, let's talk about Anthony Edwards, who apparently said he does not want to be the face of the NBA. And he said basically that's what they have Wemby for. So like, kind of ironic, right? But like, apparently Anthony Edwards, I looked at the quote, he was saying like he has all the skills to be the face, but he'd rather just show up, play really well, and send teams home in the playoffs, just like basically like play really well and just be the number one guy in his team, win championships, those kind of things, but not be the face of the league. Maybe I'm misquoting him, but that's essentially what he was saying, what I got from his quotes. And so this is very interesting because Anthony Edwards doesn't seem like the type of guy who wouldn't want to be the face of the league. Now, obviously, he's not going to force the issue, right? And you can't make yourself the face if you're not the face. But, like, he has the personality to be the face of the NBA. Obviously, he has the basketball skills and the box office, and the highlights and the dunks and all the stuff that you love to watch. But he also has the off-court, like, personality in terms of, like, his post-game interviews. Now, obviously, if he's going to be the face of the league, he would have to tone back on the cursing and all these kind of things. But I'm saying, just generally speaking, he's funny, he's personable, like, he's outgoing. So, like, those are all things that you need to also be the face of the league because they need someone who's going to, represent the league and, like, speak out, basically. Like, basically, someone they know that will speak up. That's what I'm trying to say. Not necessarily on certain things, just be outgoing. That's a better way of saying it. Like, LeBron will speak, Steph Curry will speak. It's not that you have to be the loudest person in the room, but, like, you have to be at least somewhat outgoing because you have to answer a ton of questions and you're always going to have the spotlight on you. And so Anthony Edwards has never seemed to have that issue, having the spotlight on him. So it is interesting that he said he doesn't want to be the face of the league. His quote, low-key, high-key, reminds me of Kevin Durant, who is, his idol. So I don't know if like, obviously Kevin Durant has rubbed off on him in many ways because that's his idol. But remember, Kevin Durant has kind of alluded to saying he just wants to hoop. That's just what he wants to do. He wants to hoop and go home, win games and go home. And that's kind of funny because it's kind of what Anthony Edwards said. And it's just ironic because that's his idol. And so I do think Anthony Edwards has the tools to be the face of the league. So I understand that Victor Wembanyama, I guess, is the first choice for the NBA. I don't even know really who's the first choice. I would guess it's him just because of, you know, everything that he is and can be. But I feel like last year when Anthony Edwards went crazy, like his team was playing really well, he just seemed to be, you know, everywhere on the internet. Now he has a bazillion commercials. I like so many. So it seemed like the NBA was starting to push him towards like the face of the league. Not necessarily that he was there yet, but like he was starting to be in front of our faces a lot more. And some of that was just, you know, him playing really well, but some of that was on purpose. Like the league knows who's popular, the league knows who is trending. And so he was being put in front of our faces a lot more. And then this year, obviously, he's had all these fines and cursing and stuff that the NBA does not necessarily want, right? And the team is not playing as well. And now he's saying this, you know, doesn't want to be the face of the league. So obviously, right now, he's probably not going to be the face. Then we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a potential candidate. I don't know necessarily if the league is, you know, pushing for him to be the face of the league just yet, because to be the face of the league, you kind of have to make yourself head and shoulders above everybody else. Like basically you have to do everything. And Shai does, you know, like Shai doesn't do anything wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But like in order to be the face of the league, it's kind of like I said with Anthony Edwards, you can't force it. You just have to like take it and earn it in a way. And I feel like the league has been trying to find a new face of the league since we have known that Steph and LeBron are going to retire at some point. And I feel like before Anthony Edwards, they were trying to do it with Ja. And then Ja got in a lot of trouble, so they pivoted away from Ja. Because remember, Ja started to get a lot of commercials and doing all these things. And he was in front of our face all the time. And the Grizzlies were talked about as the next up team. And it was all about Ja Morant. It was literally all about Ja Morant. And then they quickly, you know, pivoted away from that, you know, for obvious reasons. And before that, I feel like it was kind of supposed to be Zion. Not that like he got a chance because he just kept getting hurt. But I feel like coming into that draft and that season, it was kind of looked at as Zion could be next. And so I just feel like they have been struggling or trying to find their next face of the NBA for, you know, the next decade or whatever. And so Victor Wembanyama seems like a very good choice. But it is interesting that Anthony Edwards says he doesn't want to do it because I feel like he would be really good at it. I really do. I feel like he has the talent, he has the personality. I feel like he could do it. But if he doesn't want to do it, obviously the NBA is not going to make him. Like you can't make someone who doesn't want it, right? So hopefully Victor Wembanyama heals up soon because we would love to see him healthy and back on the court. And see you guys soon. Thank you for joining this live stream. Bye.